about yourself then?
Yeah, I left school at 15 and I started in the fitting shop office. I couldn't wait to leave school. I hated school. And I used to knock around with a couple of lads who were working in the mills making good money. So when they were saying, you're going to go to the pictures, and I had no money. So as soon as I was 15, I got the first chance, so I left. I got a job in the fitting shop office. And a year later, I got my apprenticeship as a fitter and turner in the main fitting shop, you know. So and I was there till 1974. And there was quite a few of the lads. I think you wanted to maybe branch out and try different places and that, you know. But it always used to bother me that it always had a reputation of a bit rough and ready. The steelworks, heavy engineering, not very, not very precise. But so it also used to put us up. And now, I took the plunge in 1974, and I worked at about 2 or 3 local firms, like, you know. And when I got out in the big world, I found that the apprenticeship I'd had in the fitting shop was equal to anything. Vickers Armstrong, Sigmund Pumps, all of them, I was equal to any of them. So I wasn't frightened then. And so the training I'd got in the Considine company and was held us in good stead. And I went on then in 1989, I set my own business up in engineering and fabrication until I retired 2 years ago. You know, so but as the lads have been saying, you know, the training you get there did me for life, you might say, really. And I never was frightened that, and I wouldn't have been frightened to go anywhere, you know, as a centre lathe turner, because I knew I could hold my own, you know. But before I left, I think, I wonder if I could manage. But as Freddie's just pointed out, like, when you do get into the private side of things, it's a bit of a different kettle of fish. Like, you've got to get your head down and get cracking and get some work done. Like, you know, not that we lay around. Don't get me wrong. It might sound as though we're saying you lay around all day. We didn't. But in private, you had to produce and had to get work done. So
do you look back at the apprenticeship and that time till you left in '74 with fondness? Or
yes, yes, without a doubt, yes, yeah. And I think a lot of the lads I know, people who left and went back 4 and 5 and 6 times. I'd have tried this, I had tried that. You always knew you could always come back, you know, and if you were anywhere decent, you would get a start again, you know. So a lot of lads used to do that. But obviously, in the last few years, they weren't starting to take people on, like, you know. But I look back with a great fondness, like, you know. Yeah, but appreciate the training I got, really, you know.
So when you left school, at 15, school didn't hold you, but when you went to work, was that a better environment for you? Did it work better for you than school?
Oh, definitely, the work environment. I absolutely loved the 12 months in the fitting shop office. But I just started, I don't know what it was. I think some of the teachers were having the discipline in them days, and I just felt as though I was ready to leave. And so I just loved working with older fellas and hearing the chat, all day long, and it was really good. I look back with great fondness, yes.
But you always remember, Bill, when you were apprentices, you also had to do your night classes and your day releasing, so you were still being educated as well as learning your skill. So you were learning, you had to pass your exams and progress. And
they encouraged you, didn't you? I won £7 twice.
That's right, you see. Yeah. That's right.
I won £7 twice and got a certificate to do brother at college. And that was more than the week's wages.
I thought it was a card school.
You know when you were doing your apprentice? yeah. No, I was scrapping the card.
But you had Jim Seaman, who always kept a check on you. Always went to the college, and he came down on you like a ton of bricks. He came down on you a ton of bricks if you hadn't attended your night class or went to the day release.
It used to be the presentation at the Freemasons, wasn't it? Yeah. There was a big do on, and everybody, and as Paddy says, that you got money for passing. Yeah. And they allowed me to go on to Charles Trevelyan, which is now Newcastle College, the end of Scotland Road. I went there for the last 2 years. I was actually out of my time. And one of the engineers called Ronnie Laws, you all remember Ronnie, can't you? And Ronnie Laws, I had to go and see him because I should have been finished. And he said, well, if it's going to do you good. So them 2 years there, really, so that was Considine Company let me, because you're supposed to finish when you were 21, like,
So from being a 15-year-old lad who didn't want to be at school, you found out that you had the skill, you had the You were bright enough to cope with.
That's right.
Just that school didn't work for you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was doing all, it wasn't as though I was struggling at school. I mean, I only went to Cutset Secondary Modern School, you know, but I mean, I was in the middle of me one of my exams when I left, and they begged me to stay. Because, you know, you could have, you know, they thought I was going to ruin me life by not sitting this exam, but all I wanted to do was leave, and I said, sorry, Nick, I'm leaving. And I went in 8 classes to finish that, so I still got the exam at the end of the year anyway.
Just going back to the training there, I know when the company closed and I started travelling, I quite quickly got a reputation with various other companies that I worked with, the quality of work that I turned out. And this was thanks to all the guys, the bricklayers and that trained me, because if you build something and it wasn't right, they'd just kick it down.
No.
You'd have to build it again. And if it still wasn't right, they'd kick it down again. And that's what they used to do, they'd put the foot through it or pull it up. But once I started travelling, the quality of work that I was turning out with the various companies that I was working for, I still got a reputation with myself. And I ended up with one company, if I had no work on, I was sitting in the house getting paid 40 hours to keep us on their books when the next job came on.
Mm-hmm.
It was that sort of thing. Yeah.
You just saying that, but you just saying if you built it wrong, you used to knock it down.
Yeah.
When you're at the TRD, you made your sharpies and your tensils, you made them right, and they went away and broke them on you.
Had to be, yeah. Had to be right.
That's what they do at the yoga. They wouldn't tell you you're building it wrong. They'd wait till you finished it, and then tell you what they're doing wrong, and then put the foot through it. You know, pull it down and clean it off and start again.
You're training those.
Yeah, it's a tough
But
love.
not just in the skill, but in what kind of interpersonal things, isn't it? Because it's a big part of any job that you get along with people, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that's a big chunk of every job. You know, you'll endure somebody that maybe is less skillful, but a nice person to get on with.
Yeah.
And that's what the.
I know that some of the bricklayers that we, as apprentices, we used to get sent with various different bricklayers, and you knew by which bricklayer what sort of day you were going to have. You know, you're either going to have a crap day because this guy he didn't give a shit anyway, and he was not. So you had some of the better guys who would take the time to show you what to do and how to do things and the way they should be done.
Yeah.
And then there was that other, you know, all that, the skills and everything everybody's talking about. And then, not for everybody, I suppose, but quite a lot of people, because of the size of the works, the amount of men there was a whole other education which was around like politics and trade unionism and all that, you know. Yeah. I mean, Ray Thompson's just cropped into my head their story. I was down working, who was the electrician at the fitting shops? Bob. Can you remember? He was Ray Thompson's...
Bobby Tennant.
Bobby Tennant, thank you. Bobby Tennant. And I was working down with Bobby and that, and Ray came down. And I think I'd been there about 3 minutes, and Ray says to me, do you like reading? I says, aye. And he plops a copy of The Ragged Trouser and Philanthropist in my hand, Robert Trussell. I've still got a copy on the shelves, yeah. And then I was reading about all this stuff, you know, and about 20,000 union leaflets, you know. Yeah. So you had a couple of different types of, loads of people with shop stewards were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.